Fly right in and step right up. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, have I got a deal for you. Yes, ladies and gents, here's a 2-for-1 offer you just can't refuse. If you act right now, for the price of one localizer, you can receive absolutely free at no extra cost a back course localizer of your very own. Well, that may be overstating things just a little bit, but there is a lot of truth to that pitchman's line. You see, a localizer transmitter sends a signal out in both directions, a front course and a back course. The back course localizer is sort of a happy accident. If you shoot a beam of energy out the front of this antenna, some of that energy shoots out the back in the opposite direction. If the FAA flight checks and approves it, a back course can be used for tracking over the airport and straight ahead on a missed approach. You can also use it for guidance when departing an airport. And if the flight checks show that it is accurate enough and the terrain permits, the FAA designs an approach using the back course. For example, here's the localizer back course runway 35 left approach at Lubbock, Texas. Now, you already know about flying back courses, but just as a reminder, when you're flying the approach, you'll be flying the localizer backwards. No, I don't mean you're flying the airplane backwards, even though it might seem like it sometimes on a back course. You're flying the localizer course in the opposite direction from the way it was really designed to be flown. So remember, when you're flying the back course, drag the needle with you instead of flying to it. Let's take a look at some interesting facts about a back course. First of all, as you remember, when you're shooting a front course approach, the localizer transmitter is at the far end of the runway. It's designed so the width of the beam that it sends out is approximately 700 feet wide at the threshold of the runway. Now, the localizer beam has the same angular spread on the back course, but when you're shooting a back course approach, the transmitter antenna is at the near end of the runway instead of at the far end. That means that when you approach the runway on a back course approach, you're much closer than normal to the localizer transmitter. Notice how far you still are from the runway threshold on the back course when the beam width is 700 feet wide. So the localizer beam is much narrower and your needle is much more sensitive than they would be when you're flying the front course. Another thing to remember about a back course is you need to ignore any glide slope indications. Remember, a back course approach is a non-precision procedure, so it does not have an electronic glide slope. If you do receive glide slope indications while you're flying the back course, they're for the front course and you should ignore them. And the approach plate will usually remind you of that. Now, occasionally you may find a back course with a marker beacon at the final approach fix, as this back course approach to Lubbock has. Notice they tell you that it is a back course marker and show you the Morse code audio signal that you'll hear. Now, when you cross a back course marker beacon, the white light on your marker beacon receiver lights up, and the audio you hear is a pair of dots transmitted at 75 times a minute. And so, ladies and gents, there's your 2-for-1 deal. A real bargain indeed when you consider the added utility. Just remember, on the back course approach, to pull the needle with you when you make corrections, ignore any glide slope indications, and remember that the back course will be more sensitive than the front course is when you get near the runway. And you'll be flying back course approaches safely and accurately every time.